and talk with the panelist at that time. So with that being said, I want to thank you so much for being here. But Kyle, first of all, kick us off here.
I mean, who's ready for their breakthrough? This is, but did you know, Crystal, you can still speak up when something is not right, regardless of if you own?
Look, the reality is people understand that if you own something, you speak up when it's not right. But did you know you can still speak up when it's not right, regardless of if you own it? That's what today is all about, right, Kyle?
Absolutely. It's about taking ownership, and it's about committing to speak up when something just isn't right.
Man, I want to kick this off and just see how comfortable we are, because some people may not be comfortable speaking up when something's not right. So before we jump into it, as you can see, we have a VIP speaker, Dr. Jeanette Winters, here to share her wisdom and her story. But first, I want to know, how confident are you? From 1 to 10, I want you to go ahead and write this down and drop it in the chat. On 1 to 10, how confident are you in deciding to positively assert yourself? 1 to 10, drop it in the chat here.
Ooh, that's good, Crystal. And so for the second question here, absolutely. Observe your environment and identify how you can make it better, how you can bring value to that. So go ahead and put in the chat box 1 to 10 how confident you are.
Absolutely. I see Susanna and Jessica are in there. Rosemary, thank you. Come on, if you're watching, I know you're not watching TV. You're here because you want a breakthrough. This is your chance to participate in this. Talk about the ownership mentality. Act like you own this seminar. What would you do? You would engage. Thank you there. There we go. Enrique, Eden, thank you. John, Rick. All right, there we go. So we got a couple of people rolling in. We got a couple of questions. Thank you. Delgado had to think about it, right? Kyle put his in. All right, I love it. John, thank you. All right, so we got some responses here and they're still rolling in. For the next one, I want you to put 2:. So we know this is for the second question when you put it in. We are tallying these. There is an end product here. You're going to want to participate to get your breakthrough. So make sure for the second one, you put 2:. So go ahead and hit them with the second one again, Kyle.
So observe your environment and identify how you can make it better.
Yes, that's the second question. What is your confidence level from 1 to 10 on your ability to observe your environment and identify what can make it better? Come on, comment in the chat, 1 to 10 here. Trust me, you're going to want your breakthrough. There we go. Thank you, Miss Stephanie Luna. Special shout out for her. She's a dynamo. If you don't know Miss Stephanie Luna, you got to get to know her. She's a shout out to a special person. Susanna, thank you. Rosemary, Jessica, thank you so much. I see some more coming in. Aw, thank you, Miss Stephanie. Look at you. You're so sweet. All right. Now we're going to question number 3. So again, put 3 and colon. Again, these are being calculated. So please be honest with yourself and participate so you can have your breakthrough. The third question is, what is your confidence level from 1 to 10 to proactively problem solve for the benefit of us all? That means thinking about the solution that would help solve everybody's problems. If it's a small thing that makes a big impact, would you speak up if it benefited everybody? 1 to 10. Go ahead, drop it in here. I see a lot of 7s, 9s, 8s. It looks like we got some confident people on the call. Nobody I notice has dropped a 2 or 3. I see 1 5. I thank you for that and your honesty. I see a 6.
Looks like we have a lot of proactive people, Crystal. I mean, people who are just taking advantage and really benefiting themselves and others.
Absolutely. I love it. The people who show up to these seminars are go-getters. That's right. But you're going to learn that even there's always an area for opportunity. So what about number 4, Kyle? Go ahead and hit him with that.
So the fourth one, write down your confidence level from 1 to 10 on using I statements to share your observations and keeping calm along the way.
All right.
And that's big, definitely keeping calm along the way and your opinions and really exercising and propounding your voice to those problems that you see. How confident are you from 1 to 10?
Mm-hmm. So using I statements. This is when you see there's a problem, being able to say, I think, I feel, I want, I need. I believe, I read, I learned, I want. Can you do that? I know this is getting hard. I don't know about you, but sometimes it's easy to say they want, they need, right? But can you use I? Can you be personal and intentional with your language? And last one here, and then we're going to jump into it. And what about your confidence from 1 to 10 on keeping calm and focused when people don't agree with you? This one is hard. My heart goes a pitter patter. I want to be proactive and believe I would step up for what somebody needs. But what if people don't believe or agree with you? Can you stay calm and focused and committed? All right, here we go. I see a couple coming in for 5. Please keep putting in your responses. This is so important. Thank you so much. But regardless, I want you to sit back and get ready for your breakthrough. You're engaging with us. You're telling us your scores and your confidence from 1 to 10. Again, we're going to use that at the end for a breakthrough. But I want you to really prepare yourself, because I believe when you're intentional and you're ready for a breakthrough, that's when a breakthrough happens with your life. So if you're here because you want to advance your career and get promoted by learning how to embrace decisions, take action, shift into high gear, learn to lead the pack, enjoy every second of your career, become noticed, rewarded, promoted for all the right reasons, you're in the right place. Dr. Jeanette Winters is here with our host today, and UHB student Kyle Motal. This is such a treat. Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about Dr. Jeanette Winters and what is this ownership mentality that we're talking about today?
Absolutely. We're so excited to have Dr. Jeanette Winters here to join us. She's a rock star, and she's a human resources executive, and she's passionate to help others capitalize on change opportunities for themselves and their organizations. Dr. Winters specializes in corporate human resources, including talent management, diversity and inclusion, organizational development. She's led teams at global Fortune 500 companies, including Intel and American Express. Dr. Winters, wow, American Express, that's awesome. We're just so glad you're here.
Thank you, Kyle. It's great to be here. I can't wait to get started.
Absolutely. So the ownership mentality, it's simply taking ownership of owning your future. Regardless of whether your name is on a building, a business card, learning to own and drive your career and life. Dr. Winters, I have to ask, so being a doctor, you've got to come from a long line of doctors, right? That's what motivated you to pursue your academic career.
Nope, not in this case. I am, as Dr. Brene Brown likes to say, one of those freaking first-time people. And I have a family where I'm the first high school graduate. My dad dropped out in the 10th grade. My mother was lined into a secretarial program. And so no matter whether it was high school or college or seeking a graduate degree, I really was first timer. And that comes with a lot of burden because you don't have role models to turn back to. I had people I could rely on, but they couldn't help. And as I pursued my education. So I've been very lucky to have friends and educators really share what it takes in terms of getting an academic degree.
Wow, that's incredible. And the freaking first time and really leveraging yourself along the way. So where was the support? Where did the support happen and give you that leverage to keep moving?
You know, I come from a family on both sides that immigrated to the United States, and my grandfather, my mother's father, had a small import-export business that served commercial fishermen. And so I was always good with numbers, still am, and at age 9 started working in his business on school breaks and on weekends. And he would have me put together the invoices for the fishermen, and they would come in every Friday and pay their bills. Well, he taught me right from day one. I could add up all of the invoices, prepare them, and then he expected me to turn them over to the fishermen. And I'd say, Grandfather, I think that's something that you should do. They don't want to talk to me. And he would say, nay, 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 nay. You are never too young or too female or too anything not to do the best job possible. And so it was at his knee that I really learned about customer service and bringing your best game, because he required that literally from age 9. And until and including the day I received my doctorate, he made sure that he always asked the question, what was I going to do to contribute to those around me?
Wow, that's an incredible story, and really how your grandfather helped you along the way and kind of started your journey on that. So what happened after you graduated to help you motivate through that journey?
Well, you know, I went to American University, a private university in Washington, D.C. on scholarship. And I was so thankful for the support that the financial aid office had given me. I decided to go work for them with my work study job, and again, good with numbers. So what I did was to take and first lay out a spreadsheet all on paper, and then I moved it over to Excel, to where I could actually manage the millions of dollars that were coming in through the federal government and all the state governments for the students that were attending the university. And, you know, again, it was there learning how to, you know, invest yourself and really make things happen. And it was interesting because at age 20, as I was crossing the stage to get my diploma, the president said to me, we can't get anybody to take over the new, the financial aid director spot. Would you do that? My poor mother's sitting in the audience wondering if they were going to give me my diploma or not, or what was going on. And I said, sure, I'll do that, you know, never. And so the then president said, aren't you worried about being too young? And I said, no, sir, I am not. And my grandfather's voice really reconciled, you know, really just rang through my head even on that day, because I knew that if I knew how to do the job, I brought my best. And that was something I learned from him.
Wow, that's amazing. And you taking that ownership mentality during that work study position, and you've got noticed. You were noticed by the director to put you in that position, and you rightfully said yes. So, you know, give me an example, another example of your work career that maybe have led to regret or not having that ownership mentality in full effect.
Well, you know, Kyle, I'll tell you, it really was a big learning experience for me. And when I went to work for Intel right out of graduate school, I did some amazing work. And at Intel, the more you did and did well, the more they gave you opportunity to try new and different things. And I was in my 9th year there, and I went to the CEO, who I had dotted line reporting. I worked for him, and I also worked for another line manager. And I said to him that I really wanted to do something else. I was really not, I didn't feel like I was tapping all the best that I could bring. And so, you know, he sort of shook his head and he said, yeah, I'll think about it and all the rest. And, you know, we talked several days later, and he said, well, you know, Jeanette, all those ideas that you brought, you know, I don't know. I don't think we're ready for it, whatever. And lo and behold, it was, the timing was such that a recruiter from American Express called me and said that they had been watching what I'd been doing and that they really wanted my skill. And, you know, it was a matter of timing and not feeling like I was being heard. And that was after 10 years at Intel. And I couldn't imagine why I wasn't being heard. We were told to own our own career. And so that's why I went to my boss, only he didn't listen. Well, as it turned out, when I went and gave him my letter of resignation, he was really not very happy with me. And he said, why didn't you say something? And I said, sir, I brought you 3 options that I thought might be great for my next move. He said, Jeanette, you've never asked for anything. He said, and you really didn't ask for anything when you came to see me. He said, you made some suggestions, but you didn't draw the line and say, you're really unhappy to the point you're thinking about leaving. And I said, well, Craig, it just so happened that, you know, when you said you didn't like those ideas, a recruiter called me. And he said, you know, Jeanette, you've worked for me for 10 years. You've never asked for anything. And he said, you need to learn to ask when something's important. And I realized, wow, I really hadn't asked in a forthright way. And so that led me to leave Intel. And I love the company, still do, love the work, love the culture. But I can't say that I'm sorry that I went to American Express, because it was a great experience. But I learned if I want something, I'm going to need to ask for it.
Wow, that's a great example of that ownership mentality. And so when you came to an American Express, you know, where did that really help you along the way? That, having that conversation with your old boss at Intel, how did that help you along the way during their American Express?
Well, one of the things was that the cultures were very different. And I was really challenged to move from high tech, very, fast pace and really dog eat dog sort of mentality. It was real rough and tumble. And American Express was very genteel and still is. They cater to a certain group of people. And I really needed to know that, that I was expected to bring my best, but I was expected to bring my best differently. And, the headhunter said to me, it's like this, Jeanette, we're bringing you in at a senior level. You are not a technical person, even though I was in a technical track, and you're a female, and we don't really do well with your kind. And I thought, my kind? And he said, yeah, you'll be lucky to be here a year. Well, that just had me digging in, and I'll tell you, I got my 1-year pin, my 5-year pin, and my 10-year pin. And I did so deliberately, but knowing that I really had to go beyond and really challenge some of the things that we really, that seemed to be the underpinning of the work that we did. But it was by learning and really rolling up my sleeves that I was able to ask the right questions. And that really had me taking on a new energy about the work that I did. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, has always said prior to his passing that seek first to understand and then be understood. And man, that has served me well. It really, really has.
Wow, and going beyond expectations, like you said, Dr. Winters, and owning that decision that you make and making it better for others. So let's dive deeper a little bit into ownership mentality. If there's somebody that just needs that support and that guidance, who really needs that vision that they want to partake in and create that road and journey, but how do they get there? Like, where's the first step? Where should they really start believing and understanding themselves that I can really do this?
Well, the first thing is that you look in the mirror when you get up in the morning, getting ready for work, and you remind yourself that confidence is something that you need to bring to your game each and every day. And confidence is a skill that waxes and wanes. We practice it every day. So don't believe that you're either confident or you're not, but bring it to your game. So if you were to ask, what's the 1, 2, 3 of really owning your own career and having that ownership mentality? First, find the spot where you really think that you can contribute. The second thing is ask good questions. Come to understand before you try to be understood. And finally, notify. So FAN, F-A-N, and make sure that you really talk to the people that are involved, and do so respectfully, obviously, but don't be a wallflower. Those wallflowers, they're pretty, they're on the wall, but they don't smell very good. And they just, they don't age well. What you want is you want to be out contributing each and every day, because that is what matters in your career.
Absolutely. So I want to echo that a little bit. Find. That means decide to be deeply curious. Like Dr. Winters is saying, ask, understand how to improve your environment around you, and then notify, share facts and ideas as an observer to raise attention. So Dr. Winters, was there ever a time in your career where you saw this ownership mentality come into full effect with somebody else, and you realize, wow, this really has changed, a whole organization?
You bet. I was working in a plastics factory there in town, and I'll tell you, I had an intern, and and interns typically do what they're told, right? And this young man was an economics and finance major, and he was very, very quiet. He'd never really been inside a corporation before. And so everything was brand new to him, but he was really reserved. And I would say to him, get engaged and all the rest of it. And until one day, and with plastics, there's a lot of heat, and as we were there, it's ambient temperature work. So we know it gets hot in Texas, it gets humid in Texas, and you have a roof over your head and there are walls, but all the doors are open, and if it's 100 outside, it's probably 105 under the roof working on the plastic, because you're melting and forming plastic into product. Well, one of the big problems that we'd had for a long time was this issue of heat. And people would say it's too hot, it's uncomfortable, we don't like working here because it's so hot. So the company invested in very expensive ventilation systems. We called them the big fans because that's what they were. You look up at the roof and man, that's all you saw. Well, we spent 6 figures on those things. And so I thought, check, that one's done. Well, we'd had them installed. A couple of months later, I'm still getting complaints about it being too hot. So I sent my intern out and I said, do a temperature study. And I want to know what the temperature is, over the course of 3 or 4 hours, and, with the fans on and off and this, that, and the other thing. 10 minutes later, I get a phone call. Dr. J, the fans aren't on. I said, what do you mean the fans aren't on? He said, they don't work. I said, they're brand new. What do you mean they don't work? And he said, well, I talked to the supervisor and he tells me that when they installed them, they said, we need to do other things, but we don't have the time today. He said, and they've never been back. I called the supervisor and I said, the fans don't work? And he said, no, we were wondering when you were going to get around to having them finished. And I said, I didn't know they hadn't been finished. And he goes, oh, well, we figured you did. Well, I didn't work there every day, and people had worked there for 2 months looking at these big expensive fans over their head, and they didn't work. So, we really lauded the intern, and when he came back and he asked me, he said, why didn't people speak up? I said, I can't tell you that. I don't know. But I said, stepping up in that way would have made their lives better and our lives better here at the company. So I said, that's a great example of that. And he looked at me and he said, oh, now this young man was extremely introverted. He had absolutely, low man on the totem pole. And about 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from the CFO. And he says to me, Dr. J, he said, that intern of yours is fabulous. I said, what did he do? He said, he took an Excel spreadsheet. We hadn't added formula. So the gals were actually, they were tallying up the columns. He inserted the formula and he said, I think this will be a big help. 20 hours of labor he saved us. The CFO just couldn't have been happier. It was more accurate, it saved a lot of time, and cost nothing other than an intern's hour. He embraced that ownership model, and to this day, he'll when we chat, he'll remind me he owns his own career and his own life.
I love that. You definitely changed his perspective of everything. And what I'm getting out of this is being proactive.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't expect because you see or something that everybody else does as well. We all look at the world through our perspective, through our conceptual lens. And so don't assume that everybody knows. Our guys and gals worked for 2 months with fans overhead that didn't work because they assumed we knew. and we didn't.
Like,
You know,
like you said, bringing that up, it made lives better. It improved the company culture. That people who are working there, it improved their lives, and it's incredible how that ownership mentality really echoes along an organization.
oh, I can tell you, I can give you countless experience, but one of my classes at the University of Houston actually did a short 6-month study looking at how people that have that ownership mentality are actually contributing in very substantive ways to the bottom line of organizations. And they calculated, and the CFO and his staff actually confirmed that for employees that just come in and do the job and no more can cost a company hundreds of thousands of dollars. They are less safe. They have more absenteeism. They don't come in on time. They leave early. They check out mentally. They don't bring their best, and it can cost a company hundreds of thousands of dollars. So absolutely, it is something that we all have within us to bring forward. Easy as find, ask, and notify.
Absolutely, and bringing that ownership mentality. If you're even the person, the lowest position in the company to the highest position in the company, you will get notice from that lowest person that you're bringing up a problem that really can solve the organization and save them, like you said, bunches of money and improve the culture.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what the ownership model is all about. We talk about, we call it the ownership model because think of when you rent a car. They give you the keys and you basically don't think much about it. It gets you where you want to go or keeps you, mobile on a vacation. And then you come back and you hand them the car. You don't check the tires. You're not checking the oil. You're not taking it in for service. You're probably not even washing it. But if you owned that car, you would treat it differently. And it's that same sort of thinking, making sure that you're treating your car very much with an ownership mentality.
I love that. And where you can, be the best and brightest, where you can add value. People a lot of times, Dr. Winters, they'll enter organizations or they'll enter, different groups to answer what's in it for me, when really they need to have that mindset of how can I bring value? Where can I bring value?
Yeah, Kyle, in fact, you and I were chatting yesterday. I mentioned that I was working with a group of students a week ago, and they were asking about sort of what's in it for us to have this ownership mentality. And one of the young men there, Mohammed, had just started a new job, and he was not very happy with his new supervisor, who had been out on family leave and seemed to be having a series of issues that took him out of work. And so Mohammed said, there are 4 people that I need to meet in order to get my job done. And he said, but I'm waiting for my new manager to introduce me. Well, I'd been to Mohammed's company, and so I knew that, they had cubicles. He could probably see the 4 people that he needed to meet. So I said, Mohammed, how far away are these people? He goes, oh, next aisle over. I said, why don't you get up and go meet them? And he said, well, is that okay? And I said, that's being a self-starter. Your managers must have an awful lot of other things on his mind, being out on family leave and who knows, in the days of the pandemic, what's going on. But you know what you need. So take care of that. Go meet these 4 people that you need to work with in order to get your job done. Your manager is going to be happy. And it's not a matter of going around him. You're getting your work done. You're being a self-starter.
That's a great story. And it goes back to the beginning. You're never to anything. If you don't have those long names or your name on a business card, it's taking ownership.
Absolutely. And we have found repeatedly that companies that foster the ownership mentality in their employees, they are more innovative. They have less undesirable attrition, meaning employees stay, that they are more productive, they make more money, and they operate more safely. And, That just says it all to me. I really think that that's exactly what helps all of us. I think it's a great thing to be focusing on.
Absolutely, and it definitely, like you said, it makes the organization more safer, and it's everybody is happy to work there. The culture is incredible, and so I want to talk about a little about how the ownership mentality benefits you in a way as well.
Oh, you bet. First of all, it saves you headaches. You know, just as with Mohammed, he was going home every day and he was wringing his hands and he was saying, you know, I've been there for almost a month now and I haven't met the right people. He knew what he needed to do, but for some reason he was waiting to be given the permission. And so, you know, I just said, take it on. That eliminates your headache right there. It also feels good to accomplish something and to be recognized for that. And so one of my public service coaching clients was in a meeting and the city manager was highly lauded by a citizen who came to a commission meeting. So this gal, my coaching client, said, do you think I should tell the city manager that they really appreciated all his efforts to keep the citizens of the town communicated to and with during COVID? I said, why wouldn't you? And she said, well, I don't want to feel like I'm jumping over. And I said, send him a note, 2 paragraphs. Dear city manager, you got the nicest compliment. This is what a citizen said. It's great to work in an organization that is that committed. The city manager actually called her, because of course everybody's working virtually now, and said she made his day. She made his day because she wanted to, he gave her, you know, she gave him something to feel great about. So let's be clear. Let's make sure that we are doing well and we're being recognized for it. It improves your recommendation. It really is the stuff resumes are made for. It encourages you, and you even get to see and do things that come with the privileges of being innovative and contributing. And frankly, you're more likely to get projects assigned you care about when people know that you're going to get in and get it done.
Well, I love that. Being recognized and your confidence increases as well. And
absolutely.
And then I also want to add, you know, Dr. Winters, having this ownership mentality in a company culture, and let's say the person is in a culture where, you know, I don't think my ownership is really going to affect anybody else. I mean, is it contagious? Will it affect everybody else?
First of all, we need to remember that people are boss watchers and they're people watchers. So everybody watches what the boss is doing. And they try to emulate that because that's their best way of knowing how things work in a given culture. However, they look to each other, and if everybody is reticent, then you're likely to be more reticent. And I'm not saying you go out and be flamboyant and wave flags and shout, but you, even in a company that is very quiet and very deliberate, remember, find, ask, notify, the FAN, the 3-step method, and really investigate things that are of interest to you and really raise issues that you see of importance and do so consistent with the culture. It benefits you, it benefits your colleagues, and it also benefits the organization. And we need to remember that, because when everybody wins, why not? Why would you hesitate for a moment?
Absolutely. So I'm a huge football fan, Dr. Winters, and I have to bring in, you know, this past week in the Super Bowl and how the Buccaneers beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And, you know, the Buccaneers haven't made it to the playoffs since 2007. And they went out and made some acquisitions, you know, notably Tom Brady. But the whole team rallied together and had a mentality that they were focused on winning the biggest game of them all. And they went down the path and they did it. And so even though their resume of the Buccaneers was not great, but they changed the culture and really everybody bought into the organization.
Well, you know, there is a great example of where the captain and the quarterback has a reputation that's larger than life. You know, people are calling him the greatest of all time. Whether you buy that or not, Brady couldn't have won the Super Bowl on his own. You know, his favorite tight end, Kronk, caught 6 passes and made 2 touchdowns. And so the combination of the two of them working together, never mind, as one of the newscasters said, you know, I don't think Brady even broke a sweat. Well, I'm sure he probably broke a sweat, but the long and the short of it is he had a front line that protected him at every step. The defensive team did not get to him. That's a team effort. That is absolutely a team effort. They're protecting their star, the quarterback, the captain, but that was a team win. And Brady said that just as much as everybody else. He could not have done that alone.
Absolutely, and and it really reflects in the organizations and the companies. It's having that team effort, everybody buying into the solution, buying into the vision, and really communicating it transparently throughout the whole organization. And that's what really echoes that wide.
You know, the thing of it is, we need to remember that when we are engaged and we're feeling motivated, you know, as Simon Sinek likes to say, his ideal for a great life is that you wake up inspired to do your best that day, that you can operate safely and amongst people who care about you, and that you go to bed at night feeling like you contributed. That's what the ownership mentality allows you to do. Doesn't cost you anything. It benefits the organization, hands down. You know, it improves morale, the company culture. It is absolutely contagious. And we need to remember that. We are social human beings, and we need to make sure that we remember that attitude, mood, emotion is really contagious. When you smile, everybody else in the room is going to smile too. And you need to remember that people are watching. And if you're a standout, they're watching you that much more closely. Remember, people that own their career, they reduce unproductive expenses. They are proactive, better products, better solutions. They save time, they make more money. There isn't anything that they don't contribute to. And that's the important thing, Kyle.
Well, I love it. And and having that clear and concise decisions along the way, because you are owning your future. You are taking advantage of what's in front of you. And I love, visioning your path and taking off to really set that as your dream and turn it into a reality. And so, Dr. Winters, that's amazing. And really being proactive and focusing on yourself and not others. And like you said, it's contagious and other people are watching you.
Absolutely. There's a construct that I like to include in all of my service skill training that when I do that, and it's colossal collaboration. And the first word really sets the tone for what's expected. Colossal collaboration is not just working together. It's not just getting things done, but it is enabling everyone on the team to get their work done so that all of you collectively are succeeding. And that's what colossal collaboration is all about. So just remember, it's not you getting your work done. It's everyone making progress. And that's why, ownership mentality really positions you well to step forward, lean in, and make really important things happen.
That's so great. And all of that ownership mentality, it's deciding to positively assert yourself, observe your environment, and identify what can make it better. Proactively problem solving for the benefit of everyone, and using those I statements at the beginning of your story to share your observations, being clear about what you want and what you need and what you see that needs to be changed, and keeping calm and focused when people around you just simply don't agree, and keeping yourself along the way.
I tell people all the time, remember, you can't change others, but you can manage and change you. And so what I really mean by that is that if you commit to doing your best and really being a colossal collaborator and really leaning in and owning your career, you're the one that's going to benefit. And that's why I, take hold. Why wouldn't you? And, I hear all the time, oh, my manager is this, my manager doesn't do that. I don't get this, I don't get that. They never listen. And it's like, okay, have you tried? No, because I know they don't listen. Oh, okay. So you're unhappy, but you're not going to do anything about it? Don't be one of those. Don't be a wallflower that is just that unhappy. Commit yourself and really engage, because I will tell you, it is the key to being noticed and being promoted and being given opportunity to grow. And isn't that really what we want out of our careers? Of course it is. We want to be recognized for doing good work, but don't settle for good work. Go for great. And that's what the ownership thinking, the ownership mentality is going to afford you.
Wow, Dr. Winter. So you hear that, everyone? Go for great, right? Be proactive. Don't rent your life, own it. And that's what it's all about. It's focusing on yourself to really make your way and make your path to the dream that you vision. So Dr. Winters, we'd like to thank you so much. I'm going to turn over to Crystal. We have some questions, maybe pile in for some active questions.
Absolutely. Dr. Winters, thank you so much. One of the things that I love about what you're teaching today is that we all can do this. There's not one person who is watching this who is not able to see something that can be improved, that can share that with the people around them, and that can own their life and can benefit from this. So thank you so much. The key that I heard today was that it's important to decide to be intentional. Like you said, wake up every day. You started this by saying, wake up every day and look in the mirror and decide that you're going to be able to go for great. And so I just am so inspired by that. And I hope all of you watching are also deciding to be great, deciding to be intentional each and every day, deciding to not rent your life, but own it. Especially if you're a current student who's about to graduate or a recent graduate and you're just starting out, maybe you feel you're too young or you're too whatever. You're not too anything. As you heard it here first, here's Dr. Winters coming in at 20 years old with a bachelor's degree and getting a director's job. Look at this. This is the stuff that dreams are made of, and it happens every day because she took ownership in her life. So I hope you hear her story and you feel inspired by her ability to take ownership in her life and be able to share this message with the world, because it truly is what will help you get what you want in life. And that is being intentional, asking for what you want, not being afraid. See, we started this broadcast off by saying, are you able to confidently decide to positively assert yourself? We're not talking about pushing your way into something and punching and beating on your chest and making it about you. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about, are you able to speak up when you see there's something wrong? That is the key to this, is deciding to positively assert yourself. We heard a lot today about observing your environment and identifying how to make it better. I think that's such a great analogy. Look up and see the fans around you that aren't on. Look at the hidden resources that haven't been tapped into. Look at the problems that your colleagues are dealing with or the students are struggling with. What can you do when you step into that environment? That'd be a little thing that'd make a big impact in the organization. That's what's going to help you get promoted. And how can you proactively problem solve for the benefit of everyone, right? Dr. Winters gave example after example after example of how somebody simply proactively problem solved how to benefit the group. This is not something you need a doctorate to do. This is something you can do every single day right now because you decide, again, that intentionality. And one of the key things, when you say, okay, I'm ready, Dr. Winters, sign me up. What's the first step? the first step after you decide is learning to use I messages. I think, I feel, I want, I need, I see, I heard, I read, I learned, and be able to go into that environment and believe in yourself and say and share your truth. And lastly, because not everybody's going to want to hear it, keep calm. If they don't believe in you and they don't, Dr. Winters gave the example of when she went into Intel and said, I want to do these other things. And they said, okay, that's nice. I'll see you later tomorrow, and doing the same thing. And she said, actually, a headhunter called me and I'm going to that job. Okay. In those moments, stay calm and learn from your experiences. Life is a journey, and sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But if you decide to be able to keep calm, you will learn from each and every interaction. So with that, I want to know, what's your confidence level, right? I had you take the survey. So what does it all mean? This is what you've been waiting for. So I see here, Dr. D, by the way, special shout out to Dr. Aaron Deason, communications professor at UHV. He has come to the rescue here and calculated and tabulated your results. And it looks like we have, what is this?
3.4%. Just a handful or that category where they're just having difficulty. But a lot of our category, it looks like they kind of have the skills, but they just need a little bit more help. And what I find amazing whenever I look at this data, because I split it up a little bit more, that we have more that are on the need a little bit less help, but they still don't know completely. And so as we look at those 4 levels, we have a great group. And I think the skills we're learning today are going to be amazing to own themselves.
Absolutely. Can you put that graph back up there? I want to really spell this out for them. This is so good. Now, again, thank all of y'all who participated. Really take a moment. If you're part of that 3.4% who's under 19, that means you have some difficulty deciding to positively assert yourself. My advice to you is focus on committing to use I statements to share your observations, right? You don't need to eat the elephant all at once, but focus on saying I think, I feel, I want, I need, I see, I hear, I heard, I learned, whatever that is, use I. That's step 1, decide and use I. For that other group of individuals who were the second largest, you're coming in at 20 to 39. You can observe your environment and identify what can make it better. But perhaps your biggest area of opportunity is learning to proactively problem solve for the benefit of us all. So here you are if you're for orange. And so you just need to be able to learn to proactively problem solve. So you're seeing it, you feel confident talking about it, you can keep calm perhaps in difficult situations, but do you see that the fan's not on and realize who you need to then talk to? Or do you see that it's hot in the room and you notice that there's fans and it's not working and that you need to talk to someone and connect those dots? So start paying attention to the breadcrumbs of life to connect that for you. And then for that 40 to 50 range, look like the one of the largest groups. First of all, I am proud of you. That means you are standing up in your life for the benefit of us all, and you are making this world a better place. So thank you for what you do. I do want to say, while you have a keen ability to proactively problem solve for the benefit of us all, you need to probably focus on keeping calm and focused when people don't agree with you, okay? And so I just offer to you that perhaps is the greatest challenge of them all. So just know, no matter where you're at, even if you scored a perfect 50, there's always area for opportunity. And just know, I know for me, when I'm remaining calm, when people don't agree with me, I just tell myself, I'm doing my best and my best is good enough. And then you realize if you brought your best, like she said, go to bed every night and lay your head on the pillow knowing you contributed. So even if they don't agree, I take that. But I also want you to know a little technique here, follow your breath. If somebody is disagreeing with you and you feel like you spoke up and you shouldn't have, it's okay. You're going to learn from this. This isn't the end of the world. To focus on your breathing, you'll be okay. Get through the conversation. And realize that even if they didn't listen, you are still learning something. So thank you so much. At this point, we have a couple minutes for some Q&A, and I want to know who wants to turn on their camera and talk to Dr. Jeanette Winters, who has a question here. Okay. You can put in the chat if you'd like. So I know we had some questions come in, and please do feel free to turn on your camera to talk to her directly.
So one of the first questions somebody sent me was, we talked about the fan method. What happens whenever this fan method goes wrong and it doesn't work?
Then you try another way. It's try again, right? You're learning. And so use every attempt as a way to evaluate. Crystal has made such a good point about remaining calm, using I statements, really digging in, using the fan method. But you may not have all the information. And so maybe they'll rebuff you and say, oh, that's a silly idea. We've tried that before. Then you can come back and say, why didn't it work? Then learn. Just as much as I want you to put your head on the pillow every night and say you've contributed, I want you to know that you have learned something every day. That is what is going to make and keep you competitive. Learn something new every day. And yes, your fan methodology is how you can do things, but you are not always going to be successful. Remember, Crystal said earlier, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We are not always going to advance in a sequential method or in a linear method. And so just remember, keep at it, but learn something new every day and understand that maybe you need to do it another way.
Awesome. What other questions do we have? This is so good because sometimes it doesn't go right? I mean, and I can't tell you how many times it's happened to me, but I did exactly what you said. I followed up with a question to learn more, and I learned from that experience, and that is all you can do. Kyle says, keep at it. That's right. What else? What other questions do we have?
So I like what Alfonso said. He said persistence. And
Yes.
so I think the question that somebody asked me said, what's in it for me? Okay, I'm not a young dude, but I'm a young professor and have limited professional experience. What's in it for me to have this? Because you kind of talked about it, but what's in it for me to have this ownership?
Because you not only will learn by adopting this methodology and owning your own career, you will be a light. You may see things differently. You may experience things differently. We have a lot of first-time college students in our midst here at UHB. And so they may not know how to pick out a major, how to select classes, what it takes to write a quality collegiate level paper. You've been there, Dr. D, and you know how to do those things. You've learned. And so that's something that you can offer through your insight. Not only will you learn what others don't know, but you'll learn those that have been there for a while and how they see the issue very differently. So the thing is, and the last year has really re-emphasized for me that different perspectives. I do believe that people of good hearts and minds can and should disagree. If everybody agrees, what the heck? We're not going to make progress. But we can disagree respectfully, politely, always seeking first to understand, because it enhances our position.
So good.
I like that. And that made me think of something. I mean, and we're running out of time, but this fits perfectly in what we got to talk about mentorship. I was going to ask you, what if the people around me don't share this ownership mentality? But I think you kind of answered that. We just got to inspire them, and
Exactly.
I think this kind of goes to. Go ahead, Crystal.
Oh, Susanna has her hand up. Does Susanna want to join in the conversation for our last question here? Go ahead and turn your camera on or your mic.
Can you hear me?
Sure
Yes,
can.
ma'am.
Okay, great. My camera isn't on now.
No problem.
Yes, it was a long. So anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for your presentation. I really like the key points that you talked about it. I also would just to know what your personal motivation was behind taking ownership, since it is something that grows your experiences. And I do believe that there are certain experiences that really enhance this type of personal ownership. Just speaking from my past experiences as well, like where you see kind of like a David and Goliath type of situation where you see people kind of like look down when something's going amiss or something's going wrong. And that's something that has personally inspired me to always take ownership, no matter if it's mine to take or not, you know? So I just wanted to know, is there any like situations that kind of like encompass what you always try to portray to others?
You've heard some of my story, and you know, I am always reminded of the people that helped me make those steps forward. And it is such an honor when someone advocates for you or says, well done, or you're due for this promotion, or you're going to get a raise. And, you know, people will always say, well, how did you get ahead? And I'll say, it's the ownership mentality. I lean into whatever environment I'm in and learn and really try to make the situation better. And that's why, for me, yeah, there have been lots of setbacks, and there have been times where I, go home at night, shake my head, and wonder why I showed up in the morning. But then I remember that I own my own career, that I own my own learning, and that I will make a contribution, even if it's small. And knowing that whether that is on an individual basis, on a one-to-one basis, with my team, or with the entire organization. And I have long believed that if I can help just one person, in even a small way, in each and every day, then I know that I'm making the world a little bit better of a place. And that's what I think. Just think, if all of us did that, how much better this world would be. And that's why I share this idea of the ownership mentality, because I'm here not only to ensure that all of you are embracing this idea and going out and making a real contribution, but also so that we acknowledge, and we fist bump, and we share elbow bumps, and we let each other know that we're here for it. I own it, I am it, and I will do it.
I love this so much, as we're absolutely, and thank you for your comment, your question. That is so special to us. That really makes it, you took ownership of it. That's what we're talking about. That's what makes this all worthwhile. But seriously, as a former foster youth myself, I'm first. I'm a freaking first in my family too, and on so many levels. And how I did it was taking ownership in my life, and everything you said, and having to believe in myself every single day. And there were setbacks, and sometimes you got to learn to pivot. But by coming back committed for the benefit of us all, I was able to get promoted through my career to be where I am. Exactly what you said. And so with that, I want to just say, speaking of pivots, I want to just give everybody a sneak peek of what's to come here. I am so excited. I hope y'all know we're not just stopping here. We are absolutely going to keep this going with Bridge to Brilliance. So this next month, we're talking about adjusting to life's changes. So this is going to be a virtual workshop with UHB alumni and former student body president, Christopher McDonald. Special shout out to him. He is going to teach us about when life doesn't go your way, how to pivot. You're going to learn how to tap into your values and purpose, so you know what to do when life throws you a curveball, and you still come out on top. So talking about setbacks, that's such a good segue to that. I thank y'all so much for joining us. I want you to mark your calendar for the next one. Make sure you take the time to do your survey. Truly, it is what makes this all worthwhile for us, and gives us the guidance we need to keep going. So please do your survey. That is the funding for our program, is based on your survey. So please, if you want us to keep going, fill out your survey. And with that, I know in our last moment here, we have some special UHB resources from Career Services available to help you get what you need. Download your resource file, and what's going on in Career Services that we can share.
Good afternoon, everybody. What a great presentation, and thank you so much, Dr. Winters. We do have several upcoming events coming in February that we would love to have y'all be a part of. We do have, sorry, things are pulling up kind of slow. We do have creating an effective resume workshop, which is going to be this week at 10 a.m. If you're going to miss that one, don't worry. We're going to be offering another one very, very soon. We'll have our science, technology, and mathematics career and internship fair. And please remember that many of these employers are looking for all majors. So even if you're not one of those majors, you can sign up and attend that. And that is going to be on, there we go, on Handshake. It's a virtual event. Then we're going to have an internship workshop. If you want to know what is involved in doing an internship and the different types that are out there, sign up and attend. You can sign up for all of these in Jobs for JAGS, which is our job platform powered by Handshake. If you have trouble getting into Handshake, let us know, but it's available for all of our students, and we encourage you to sign up and attend these great events.
Thank you so much, Miss Amy. I want to also just say, Dr. Jeanette Winters is also available to be one of our mentors. So if you signed up through Handshake for the mentor process, you may be able to get in front of her and ask her questions as well. So make sure you sign up for Handshake and do the mentor process. We talked about that and kicked it off last week or last workshop. But so make sure you take the time. And with that, we are at time. I want to thank y'all so much. We have so many people to thank. And this is a byproduct of the Dean's Advisory Board for the School of Business. We have the communication department in full force. I know Woodrow Wilson, I want to give you a special shout out for all that you're doing to help move our program forward. All of our student alumni and peers that are participating. Special shout out for Kyle Motal, who is our first time doing an interview on stage. It's our first time having a student interview the whole time. So you did a fantastic job. And thank y'all so much for participating, each and every one of you. So many people to thank, so little time. Thank you so much, Rosie, for your leadership. Thank you so much, Sherilyn Hodge. Thank you, Hillary. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. And we'll see you at the next one. Make sure to mark your calendars and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Thank you, everybody. This was awesome.